Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies, and this is Personality, Plus and Minus by M.W. Kapp, M.D. An article from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 38, Number 11, November 1960. Personality, Plus and Minus by M.W. Kapp, M.D. From an unpublished manuscript by the late Dr. Kapp, author of the book, Glands Are Invisible Guardians. Personality does have its plus and minus qualities, and one usually desires to improve it by adding to its positive characteristics. Personality, however, has a psychological basis. Instincts, emotions, and attitudes mold it, but these are conditioned by the secretions of the ductless glands. Instincts impel, but do not control their resulting performance. They are not an activity, then, but merely impulses towards it. That is why they should be understood in order that the mind may be instructed in its control of them. Emotions act through the glands and their secretions. Emotions, attitudes, and secretions always go together. It is impossible to experience one without the other two. A secretion may produce an emotion, and an emotion an attitude or a state of mind. Vice versa, an attitude may produce an appropriate secretion, which in turn may result in an emotion. An emotion quickens secretions and the flow of blood. A blush or a flow of tears is only an action which is the result of a mental shock. If an emotion did not have a psychological basis, there would be no quickening of the pulse and no rise of color to the face. An attitude may arouse an emotion and start secretions that produce psychological results. We should, therefore, select our emotions and attitudes as we have the power of doing. A happy, hopeful, optimistic person has a good personality because happy thoughts, hope, and optimism quicken the cells of the body, especially those of the ductless glands. The blues or mental depression, on the other hand, have a very depressing effect on the whole physical organism. Simply put, instincts, emotions, attitudes are forms of energy seeking an outlet. If the energy they represent can be turned into constructive channels, the personality is improved and the social value of the individual rises. The direction the energy takes is determined both by the kind of energy created and by the control which the mind of the individual exerts over it, according to natural aptitudes and bents. Some individuals, for instance, like to work with their hands, some to invent, others want to paint or to write. Still others want to work among men for the uplift of humanity. Whatever the goal or desire, it is a matter of energy to be guided into properly constructive channels. This can be done effectively only when the instincts, emotions, and attitudes are recognized in terms of energy developed by a psychological process. By such recognition, one comes to a better understanding of the basis of personality and to a surer means of dealing with such personality traits as fear, worry, self-assertion, inferiority, repression. Fear, an inhibiting force. Fear is the greatest inhibiting force in man. Caution may be necessary, but not fear. Fear of the unknown constantly affects our activities, whether it be the fear of poverty, the hereafter, or what our friends or our enemies may do. Normally, in a chosen and agreeable way, self-expression will quicken the life forces, but inhibition and internal conflict will deaden and destroy the finer forces within. Worry, another name for fear, is the stock in trade of the neurotic. Inhibition of our conscious desires brings on mental conflicts which may develop into an unbalance of the mind, a state of physical unease or disease, or actual insanity. It is a notable fact that most neurotics die from some trouble other than that indicated by their favorite symptom, which they have displayed to every type of doctor for diagnosis. Physical symptoms resulting from inhibition of mental desires may send a person from one doctor to another for relief. Physical symptoms, however, may have several causes, but since the symptoms themselves usually receive the attention, relief is seldom achieved. The result is that the individual becomes the victim of his fears and inhibitions, and so contributes to the minus side of his personality, or he persists until he is helped to the discovery of the true cause of the difficulty and overcomes it. Self-assertion is a positive factor in the development of character and individuality, balanced by judgment and discrimination. Self-assertion is conducive to constructive endeavor in the practical affairs of life. However, if perverted, self-assertion leads to the sadistic type of person, the coarse character, the bully, cruel, and domineering. Many a person is afflicted with an inferiority complex, which may keep him from rising in the world of thought and work. Respect for others is a noble quality, but feelings of fear and inferiority are wrong and make for a second-rate personality. Self-abasement, like its opposite, self-assertion, may become a distressing problem. A person suffering either from an inferiority complex or from self-assertion may be recognized even by his walk or his very manner. Repression is a negative virtue and in some instances even a vice. Self-expression in its highest form is self-control. Self-expression and self-control can come about only through true self-understanding. Those who live under inhibitions break loose at times and go on sprees, but after complete relaxation, will again take up their customary way of inhibited living, and somehow continue to eke out an existence. One with self-control has self-expression, not repression. Most nerve exhaustion is due not to overwork, but to some inhibition or internal conflict. An emotion tries the organism more than the most intense physical and intellectual work. Underwork and inattention are more often the contributing causes to the breakdown. Under average living conditions, if not encumbered by senseless worry, fear, hate, or mental stress, the organs of the body will do their work quite satisfactorily. The urges of life must be sublimated or we die, or downgrade our personality. Education alone will not solve the problems of life. The influence of gland secretions on the personality shows that we must sublimate instincts and emotions into constructive attitudes. Then they will act as living, dynamic forces, permeating our very being and becoming a part of our personality. A personality that is positive and constructive. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.